Let's bring in my next guest, who, along with other local news outlets, has been receiving letters allegedly coming from someone who knows the kidnapper, even the kidnapper, potentially. Let's bring in TMZ founder Harvey Levin. Harvey, boy, this gets weirder and weirder day by day. And this morning we wake up and we find out nobody's been arrested, nobody's in custody, but we had a ton of police activity just 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, potentially within this 2-mile radius that the police have been asking for doorbell dash cam video. First, give me your quick observation on where you think we are this morning. Does this feel like a letdown?
Well, it's a letdown because they haven't caught the kidnapper and they haven't found Nancy Guthrie. I was in touch with the law enforcement involved in this early this morning, and I asked them, is this in any way tied to the information that we have given the sheriff and the FBI? And I was told no. And, as for, what happened, it doesn't seem like they've kind of connected the dots. It was interesting. Yesterday morning, I sensed something was going on with law enforcement, that there were meetings. They have these kind of morning briefings that were going way longer. I just happened to find out about one of them, way longer than they normally did. And, I figured something was up, and they were also playing everything really close to the vest. It may have been this, I don't know. What I can tell you is...
Hey, everyone, I'm just watching these two latest videos, and then I'm actually going to be covering the timeline kind of from the beginning through to where we're at now. And I'm doing it part of as a review for myself, but also just for a lot of people don't know all the stuff that's been happening. They've been paying attention to this case very closely. Now that it's possibly going international, people are starting to pay attention.
That the FBI is keenly interested in the ransom note that we received. And I know this to be a fact. They are keenly interested because obviously, we supplied them with it. And you can kind of connect the dots if you will, but I am 100%.
So
they are extremely interested in this ransom note. And they're also interested in the person who has now sent us 3 emails saying in return for money, they will lead authorities to the kidnapper and Nancy.
Let's dig into that for a second, because this is fascinating. This person claims to know where she is, or at least who the kidnapper is, and is willing to pay $50,000, or is willing to receive $50,000, half of the reward first, and then half of the...
Stand by for 1 second. I just have to refresh something.
reward later. Have you heard from this person since we saw the activity happen overnight? Are you expecting to hear from them again?
Well, if you take him at his word, I am not expecting him because he ends his email to us. Let me just read it if I can find this part. He said that there's going to be no communication, that they are done talking. So he says, let me just find this. I apologize.
And he said that before, right?
I did say
Harvey?
yesterday was my second and final attempt, but you upping the reward to discredit me is a lowball move. 3 strikes and you're out. So he's saying that he is not going to get back to us again, but he said that the time before and did.
Would you put up that money just to see where this goes?
I think it's really inappropriate because based on what we know, we could be interfering with law enforcement. They are not just sitting back. There's a reason that this ransom, this $6 million ransom, has not been paid, and there's a reason why the Guthrie family and or law enforcement has not paid the money. I don't know what that reason is. Personally, I'm puzzled, but it's very clear to me that they could do it if they wanted. And if we got involved in that, I think it would be highly inappropriate and could actually impede the investigation. There's something, obviously there's a lot they're not telling us, but I do know they're really interested in this. So we're just kind of following along and passing the information on. A couple of things that really stand out in this email, this last one, is that he says that if the FBI gives them the first $50,000 payment in the form of a Bitcoin, they will immediately give the name of the main individual along with.
Now, I just want to point something out here. Think about how much, or I should say, how little coverage the Charlie Kirk case got in media. And look at this one just getting carpet bombed everywhere for the last 2 weeks. Doesn't line up.
His information for you to track. Interesting that he says main individual, because that suggests there's more than one person. He also talks about the fact that he feels this could impact his own freedom, which also makes it sound like he's worried they might implicate him in this kidnapping, that he's kind of close to it in some form. But he ends, and this is particularly interesting, that the main individual that he says he can lead them to, he said, be prepared to go international.
Wow.
So again, if this is authentic, he's got to be talking about Mexico, because where Tucson is, it's not that far from the Mexican border.
Now, that's a possibility that Mexico may play some part in this, whether it's where she's taken to or who's responsible for it. But it's also interesting the area is the same area as TPUSA and some of those things as well. And there was actually, let's see, I don't think I can pull the screenshot up yet, but JLR investigates. If any of you guys have been following this stuff, you've seen JLR out there. He's actually on site, and I believe he's been outside of her house and everything. And one of the guys he just talked to has on a Freedom TPUSA shirt. So it's all very interesting. I wonder if it's all maybe tied together, right? You have the E-man, you have the E stuff, the fact that her hubby was in the files listed in the emails, and then you have the proximity to Fort Huachuca and all this other stuff going on. It's just all very strange. And the timing, right? They released the files. People are starting to quit their jobs. Politicians are dropping out and things like that, and completely changing their lives since the files came out. And now you see this. It all seems like very interesting timing.
And I appreciate that you're saying if this is authentic, because you yourself, you're not sure if this is legitimate. This could be a scammer, because people are coming on TV left and right and wondering, have you become a honeypot for scammers, whether they're overseas or whether they're local? But you're telling us the FBI is taking these letters seriously.
We've gotten, other emails as well that are pretty easy to discredit. They are taking the ransom letter extremely seriously, and they are taking this letter asking for the reward in return for identifying the kidnapper. They are taking that seriously as well.
Okay. Harvey, thank you for sharing that letter with us, and any more information you get it to us as quickly as possible.
All right, and then there's this other one here. This is the last video, and then we'll go through the timeline.
For more on how this case has captivated all of us, let's bring in now the host of the Up and Vanish podcast, Payne Lindsay. Payne, thank you so much for joining us. This has gripped the country. Everybody now is a detective. Everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Everybody has their theories. We're not going to talk about all of them because we're trying to follow what the police and detectives and the FBI are telling us. You cover a lot of these cases, a lot of missing persons, people that disappear, and some people come home, some people do not. Are we close to solving this?
I think so. I mean, at first there was no person of interest, and then this doorbell footage surfaced, and there's quite a haunting video image of this man in a mask and gloves. It looks like he at least knows what he's doing from a burglary standpoint. I think if you toss all the conspiracy theories out, you're looking at what would be the prime person of interest. If she goes missing from her home and it doesn't make sense that she walked away, I think this person has something to do with it. So we got to find that person.
Yeah. We were looking into the stats here of abductions of elderly people, because kidnappings happen all the time, right? But usually it's kids, young people, young women. And so take a look at these stats here. This is from the FBI Crime Data Explorer, and you see just barely. I mean, anyone over 60 barely registers on here when it comes to kidnappings and abductions in the U.S. So do you get the sense here, coupled with this?
Which is very interesting, because if you look at that age range, like 70s, 80s, they would have theoretically the most money sitting around. They've generated wealth throughout their life, and they're also easy to handle from the point of view of like physically, right? They're easy to overpower and that kind of stuff. So I find it interesting that it's so low. Obviously, you don't want anyone. Someone said JLR channel. I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking if we're going to watch JLR? Yeah, we're probably going to be watching his stuff here in a minute. I'm still listening to his. There's really not a lot going on that side. Obviously, he's gotten a ton of like views and live streamers and stuff going on. But last time I was over there watching him, basically they were just talking to the neighbors. There wasn't much going on. I don't know anything about this. Is JLR an ex-convict? I just know that he does a lot of investigating on site, which is very useful. All right, let's go ahead and finish this video, and then we'll get into the timeline, and we can check out JLR's video and that kind of stuff too.
This, what we know to be normal, routine, if you can say that, and the doorbell camera that you just talked about, where the guy doesn't really look like he knows what he's doing. Do you get the sense here that this was a random crime?
To me, it looks like on the surface that whoever this is went there with the intent to burglarize the house. And, looking at the timeline from what I know to be true, you could imagine that maybe he potentially cased the area a little bit earlier in the evening, and she was in fact not there. It was dark. Maybe it seemed like a house that he could potentially rob. And then he goes back later. I bet it probably looked the same because she was asleep and all the lights are off, no car in the driveway. He seems to be kind of casually taking his time, bumbling around at the front door. It seems like he didn't know someone was in there, and it just makes you imagine,
Not
okay,
professional.
if he broke in, what happened after that? I think.
Now, I'm sorry I keep pausing this, but this is something that keeps standing out to me. So they're sitting here, excuse me, they're sitting here and they're speculating on every little detail, which is the same thing that you see with what other case? With Charlie Kirk. But for the Charlie Kirk case, it is the independent investigators and the social media influencers and stuff that are covering it, and mainstream media is not touching it. In fact, anyone who is looking into it, who is not the mainstream media, they are calling, what they call them, like black pillars and grifters, and so they're lying and just doing it for clicks and views. And now you have Fox News and all these other news stations covering this like crazy, every detail, and this guy here is speculating. It looks like, it appears that you can see him do this little thing with, right? So this is what they were saying people should not be doing in the Charlie Kirk case. Yet they're doing it with this, and they're doing it, like someone said, 24/7. Kind of crazy. Double standards.
That was unplanned.
Yeah. You work with Nancy Grace a lot on a lot of these cases. You guys, you guys work together a lot. I'm just wondering, what is the most important and key piece of evidence you think that could bring this to a conclusion as of right now? There is a lot. Some people say we got to hone in on the backpack. Some people say it's the videos that are coming out. TMZ is getting a lot of videos. They're getting a lot of letters. Some people say it's the DNA. The DNA is going to crack the case. What have you found in all the cases you've covered? What tends to be the detail, the one piece of evidence that brings this all to an end?
I mean, something unique. I mean, the backpack is unique. If you know someone in Tucson who has that backpack, you might remember, oh, like, I don't have that backpack. None of my friends do. Maybe it's that person. Someone has recognized that backpack and is wondering whether or not it's the person that they know. Now, the DNA is definitely the smoking gun. I'm curious as to where they got this DNA in the house. I don't think they just swiped every single surface and then found a speck. There had to have been something that looked like a struggle or some sort of piece of something. So, which to me lends credence to it being potentially a crime scene. You know, that DNA, I think, could lead you to at least a stranger that was in the home the night she potentially disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's not the family. Could it be a friend? Sure, but that needs to be ruled out, and that person needs to be talked to regardless. And I think that's where it ends up getting solved.
I think the letters were confusing a lot of people. I mean, these letters that were the ransom notes, and then this letter from someone who believes that he knows the kidnapper. I want you to listen to Harvey Levin. I had him on last hour talking about detailing what was in this letter from the guy, from someone who claims to know who the kidnapper is. Listen.
I am not expecting him because he ends his email to us. Let me just read it if I can find this part. He said that there's going to be no communication, that they are done talking. I did say yesterday was my second and final attempt, but you upping the reward to discredit me is a lowball move. 3 strikes and you're out. So he's saying that he is not going to get back to us again.
You think this is legit?
No. I mean, I think if there was any.
So in the chat, if you think that this whole team, so first of all, why would they contact TMZ? I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't consider TMZ to be like a legitimate news agency, right? Not even for journalism. They're typically the ones that show all the crazy shit, right? So there's a pretty good chance that they could, you know, allegedly be making this all up or be part of, like a lot of people are saying, the PSYOP. Yeah, TMZ equals feds. So it's very strange that it's going to this one guy and everything's filtering through him. If this was a true situation where there's really a ransom and that kind of stuff, typically you would see it sent out to multiple people and multiple agencies demanding something. So I don't know. But if you guys think it's real, put a 1. If you think it's fake or staged, put a 2 in chat. I'm really interested to see where you guys' heads are at on this.
Real legitimacy to these ransom notes. One, I think they would be showing any proof of life, any sort of piece of evidence that says, hey, I actually have intimate knowledge. And it is a little bit puzzling just from like a logical standpoint why someone would be asking for a single Bitcoin when the reward is more than that. You know, unfortunately, I mean, the FBI, I think, has like almost like 18,000 tips. It gets to a point where like when a story becomes national like this, you get so much information and like only a little bit of it is worth anything. And then you have people who are scammers. I mean, we get scam texts every day. It's not that crazy to imagine people as messed up as it is trying to take advantage
of the situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Payne Lindsay, thank you very much. We appreciate all your insight. We know that this is what you do every day, looking into the cases like this.
She seems extremely, extremely bored. So some people are asking about JLR. So this is, let me see, it looks like he's breaking up.
Chat, welcome aboard. Back.
And we definitely got to get him a windscreen for his mic. But yeah, so this is JLR Investigates. Some of you are saying that I guess he was a felon or something. He was a convict at one point. I mean, that doesn't necessarily define the person and their worth, but obviously it depends on what he did and if he's still living that lifestyle and that kind of stuff. But he has been doing pretty good coverage of criminal activity and, you know, murders and things like that, ongoing cases. And a lot of times he'll get on site. So that's something that's a very good thing that he does. But people the last couple of days have been playing his videos because he's actually there. I don't know if he lives in the area or if he's somewhat nearby, but he's actually been in front of the house, the mother's house, and talking to neighbors and all that kind of stuff. Someone says JLR has a record for lawsuits. Yeah, like I don't know anything about that stuff. I'll have to look more into that, but let's see. Charlie Kirk didn't get half the media coverage that this is getting, and he got shot in broad daylight for all of us to see. Extremely suspicious, 100%. The only thing I can say about that is the only reason I could see why they'd be getting more coverage, possibly, is just the fact that there's a chance that the mother's alive. That's the main reason why. So, you know, it's like a race against time type of situation. All right, let me turn the audio back on here. So, yeah, this is them talking to the neighbors and other media people as well. And obviously, they're not getting very good
You called a monster
internet.
hunter, mate?
Oh, let me switch over to my other account that has premium.
Got you good.
Oh, check good. Yeah, let me do that really
Exploring with
quick.
Jim.
I'll switch to my premium account so we don't have to worry about that. So, do you want to, in the chat, would you rather go over the timeline right now, or do you want to watch JLR on site? Let me know down in the chat which one you'd rather do. And we'll go from there.
There's the tents. Sweet, good work, dude. Keep at it. Get some cool shots. Keep doing that.
Timeline. All right, looks like timeline 1. All right, so let me turn this way down. We'll go over this timeline here. All right. So I'll be listening in the background in case anything actually happens. But I think we're to the point now where not a lot of big things are going to be changing. I think the SWAT stuff happening yesterday was kind of the big buildup. All right, let's go back here. So prior to February 1st, 2026, we have social media speculation emerges that Nancy Guthrie's disappearance is related to the e-files. And a lot of people are saying that, especially with Savannah's, which is Nancy's daughter, especially with her being her husband, I should say, being listed in the files. Now, just because you're listed does not guarantee, it doesn't guarantee that you've done something wrong, but you're definitely there. I think Joe Rogan's in there. You know, Trump's in there. There's a lot of people. So I don't think that every single person that's listed is automatically a bad person. But based on the DLJ and all that stuff happening, the timing of this is pretty close, right? So the e-files came out on January 30th, one day before this abduction. So literally one day after the e-files were dropped, Nancy Guthrie was abducted. We assume abducted, right? That's kind of the information that's going that direction right now. And Savannah's husband, Michael Feldman. Yeah, let me turn off that other audio. It's kind of too loud even at its lowest level. So Michael Feldman, who is Savannah's husband, has ties to political influence firms that are mentioned in the files, specifically Glover Park Group and FGS Global, and that's associated with figures like Bill Clinton and Al Gore. I haven't heard that name in a long time, Al Gore. Of course, they say there's no direct link and all that stuff. That's what they always say with this stuff. January 31st, Nancy takes an Uber to daughter Annie's nearby home for dinner, and then they have a game night. And I have this set up so that the factual things are marked. Everything else is speculation. So we have an Uber ride, January 31st, 9:48 p.m. So that evening, dropped off at their home by the son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni. Garage door opens. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that this Tommaso guy was originally a suspect, and apparently at this point now he's not. So I think it's just based on the fact that like it was a height thing. So based on the fact that he was shorter, or no, I guess he's taller. He's taller than the suspect that everyone's been showing. So they're saying that he's clear because of that. January 31st, a little bit later that evening, garage door closes. Last confirmed sighting of Nancy alive. And then February 1st, early morning, doorbell camera disconnected by a masked and gloved individual. And the footage was released later. They had this backpack. And I believe that JLR went into Walmart to buy this specific backpack or something similar. And he was tampering with the device. I've also heard that there were a few different people going to a few different houses during this time period. And then, of course, we know that her mother has a pacemaker. And the pacemaker disconnected from her cell phone app. Now, I don't know much about pacemakers. I don't know if, is she in danger because of that? I think maybe it just updates to the app, but I think pacemakers are designed to run for, years, for sure, at least a year or more. And so I don't know if that's an issue or not to consider in this case. February 1st, 2:12 a.m. We're still early morning. Surveillance software detects movements, person on camera, and they're saying that there's nothing available due to the subscription, which is interesting. But that would make sense because her mother's house has been there for a long time. I think she had this house since like the 1950s or something, and she got it for a cheap price. And she says, everyone's saying it's like a safe neighborhood, and she's been there for a long time. So if she's always gone that long without messing with, the cameras and having high security and that kind of stuff, it would make sense. Let's see. Someone's saying that the pacemakers can last 10 to 15 years and they don't need to be monitored. Okay. Good to know. But her mother has been there for a long time. And, this lapsing camera to me doesn't seem, or the subscription doesn't seem like a smoking gun. It's just interesting. And the reason I say that is because my mother, even up to the point where she passed away, she lapsed on some insurance payments and some like subscriptions she had, Netflix and different things, just because, near the end, she wasn't all there. So that doesn't seem too out of place to me. And then we have same morning, data from Nancy's pacemaker app. We talked about that, disconnected from her phone. And then 11 a.m., so later that day, friends alert family when Nancy does not arrive for virtual church services she typically attends. And virtual because apparently she had bad enough health that she was on medications, and she was also not super healthy overall. And of course, we get this church ad in ChatGPT. And then later that day around noon, family arrives at her home and discovers she is missing. Evidence includes bloodstains, later DNA confirmed as hers, indicating she was taken against her will. Now, I'm not sure what would have to happen to leave bloodstains, especially against an elderly woman who has health issues, we'll say. She wouldn't be putting up much of a fight, I don't think. But I also know that a lot of those people, especially with their heart issues, they're on blood thinners. So it doesn't take much to break the skin, right? So if you grab them aggressively, that could tear the skin and cause bleeding and that kind of stuff. And yeah, a lot of people are saying they think this is a distraction. Yeah, I think it's so far, based on what I've seen, which granted, I'm not as deep in this case as I am in Charlie Kirk stuff, but this is definitely something that's manufactured, it seems, up to this point. Obviously, if more stuff comes out that changes my mind, I'm open to that too. So the family reports are missing at noon on February 1st. Pima County Sheriff's deputy arrive at the scene. Sheriff declares belief in abduction based on the evidence. Now, I haven't dug into this guy yet. In the chat, if you guys know anything about this, the sheriff deputy, someone said that he also blocked the FBI from evidence. So I don't know if he is questionable or not. Yeah, older skin shears easily, 100%. February 2nd, Savannah Guthrie publicly asked for prayers on social media, and the family begins public appeals. Now, some of you were asking who Nancy is. So Savannah is a broadcaster, and then Nancy is her mother. So think of it like a celebrity having their mother taken. It's kind of like that. February 3rd. So now we're a couple days out. Multiple ransom notes received by media outlets demanding cryptocurrency. One for $6 million. Deadlines passed without payment or resolution. Notes deep in mystery, but no confirmation of authenticity beyond the investigation. Now, as far as I know, these all went through TMZ. Was there another company, or was there another news agency that received these as well? If you guys know, can you put that in the chat? I'm kind of crowdsourcing this stuff right now. Let's see. Let's see. This looks like to decrypt your files. So this is like a ransom for files on the host and encryption, deleted backups. So it basically looks like they got hacked, and they're saying if you want to decrypt your files, contact us. Okay. That's the crypto lockout attack, which is like a ransomware. Pretty standard. February 5th, the sheriff department releases detailed timeline of disappearance. FBI increases the reward to 100,000. Earlier it was 50,000. I believe that the Charlie Kirk case, I believe it was 100,000 as well to find the shooter. So that seems in line as well. February 7th, FBI agents and Pima County sheriffs, they searched neighborhoods surrounding Nancy's home and her daughter Annie's nearby home, where Nancy had visited hours before disappearing. No evidence of daughter involvement in the abduction. Searches are part of the routine investigation. So, of course, they always check the parents, they always check the siblings, they check, caretakers and that kind of stuff. And you can see there's a lot of media and stuff that's sitting out here. And I believe this is where JLR is as well. He's right on site in that area. And then February 9th, so now we're 8 days out. Savannah Guthrie, she's the broadcaster, releases a video pleading for help. No new developments are reported. So in the chat, how many of you put a 1 if you think that Savannah or her sister Anna is involved, and put a 2 if you think that she's innocent and she's just trying to get her mother back? Then February 10th, FBI releases door footage of the suspect, enters the second week. Savannah suspends NBC duties, including 2026 Winter Olympics coverage. Now, this is the person that is too tall to be Tomasi. And someone's saying that Savannah's husband scrubbed the files for the Clintons, allegedly. And then, so you have this guy here. This is the one that supposedly did all this stuff. He has the gloves on. They're saying that they supposedly found one or both of the gloves. And then we have the backpack, the famous backpack. February 10th, FBI releases suspect description. Male, 5'9" to 5'10", average build, wearing Ozark Trail backpack, and increases award to 100,000. Up here, it just said it was 50 to 100,000. Earlier 50. Yeah. So they're just repeating those facts on different days. That's kind of interesting. Now, based on the height and the body type and that kind of stuff, and the face, obviously I'm just totally guessing here, but it almost seems that this could be someone from Mexico. And we know that today some information came out that's saying that this could have been international going to Mexico. So I'm really curious if this is a person who was paid or put together a plot from Mexico, came across the border, and is doing this, and maybe took across the border again. I don't know. Let's see. We have that. Yeah, there's the professional drawing. That's the sketch. And this is suspect in New Mexico. February 11th. We are now 10 days out. Investigators recover gloves and other evidence. DNA not matching Nancy or close contacts found and sent for testing. Now, that was, how many days ago was that? That was 3 days ago. So if they had any matches, I believe they said that's supposed to come back today, the results of that. So we'll see. Yeah, someone said, let's see, could this be related to some case Guthrie was getting ready to cover and they're trying to shut her up? It could be as simple as the fact that, her husband had alleged relations to the files in some kind of way, or people in the files. And some of you are saying that you think Andy's involved. Yeah, I'm going to have to dig deeper into all that stuff. February 11th, person of interest detained and later released. No arrests. And that's interesting because remember in the Charlie Kirk case, we had 3 or 4 different people that were the suspect, right? Yeah. And they were pretty sure. They said, guys, we got him. And then they released him the same day. February 12th, FBI requests surveillance footage from January. And so now that's interesting too. So January 31st is the last time that she was seen. And then February 1st is when she was officially missing, or at least people, her family and stuff said that she was missing. But they're going back to earlier footage. And the search continues around Nancy and Andy's homes. No indication of daughter involvement. beyond routine canvassing. And they're saying that's a fact. So they're saying the daughters aren't involved as far as they're concerned. February 12th, Nancy remains missing after 13 days. Investigation continues by Pima County Sheriff's Department, FBI, and others. Family continues public pleas. Now, one question that I think is kind of pretty obvious in this case is based on her age and based on the fact that she has a pacemaker and has health issues that are documented, like 13, 14 plus days in, are they going to have her medication that she needs? I know, like my mother, when she got into her, like later 60s and stuff, there's certain medications that she couldn't be without for more than a couple of days. And it could have been fatal at that point. So that's something that I'm not sure if anyone's really talked about or brought up is she going to be safe long-term, even if she is alive, without the medications and things that she needs? So that's a question that I think needs to be considered as well. February 13th, TMZ, again, TMZ receives third alleged ransom note demanding $100,000 in Bitcoin for kidnapper's identity. Note warns authorities to be prepared to go international. Now, my first thought when I heard that was like overseas, right? But obviously, if you go just into Mexico, which is right across the border down there, then you're international. And they're going to locate the main individual, authenticity under investigation, no proof of life or direct contact with the family. February 13th, 14th. So now we're getting into just the last 24 hours. Pima County Sheriff's SWAT team, which a lot of you saw this stuff here. And this was like, people were getting like 2 million views in like 5 hours on live streams during this stuff. Pima County Sheriff's SWAT team, FBI, and forensics execute court-authorized search warrant at the home, approximately 2 miles from Nancy's residence near East Orange Grove Road. Heavy police presence, 12 plus vehicles, roads blocked for approximately 4 hours. 3 to 4 people detained and questioned, possibly including a mother, son, and brother, one at a separate traffic stop near Culver's. And a lot of people during their streams who were in the area, they actually went to Culver's and they were looking for this vehicle, this white Range Rover, and it was towed for evidence. No arrest made, all released. No sign of Nancy. And then rumors of a man dying by self-inflicted gunshot wound during the raid circulate on social media. Sheriff Chris Nanos confirms no shooting or suicide occurred. Now that was the big story. Was supposedly SWAT went in, they did their thing, and during all of that, someone took their own life. This is saying that the sheriff confirmed that that did not occur. So, suicide rumor was debunked as speculation or misinformation. And I'm just checking chat over here. Let's see. Saying she was watching church services. Yeah, too much information can be dangerous. That's why I like to do these timelines. I like to run through and get all the different facts and speculation and everything every once in a while, and basically just like fact check it and have it fact check itself, because there's so many little pieces that are dancing around. And then February 14th, so this is today, as of this morning, case reaches 2 weeks. FBI awaits DNA testing results expected today. No new leads or arrests. Sheriff Nanos expresses confidence in resolution, but reports no signs of Nancy. Community support continues. Thousands of tips received. So we're basically in the holding stage at this point. Speculations, theories on abduction motives, ransom related to Savannah's fame, and or her husband in relation to the e-files. And then suspect identities are unconfirmed and based on media speculation. No official confirmation beyond evidence of forced removal. So whether she's alive or not, whether she was officially abducted or not, that stuff is still speculation. And then obviously it's an ongoing case. It can evolve. But a lot of people think it's related to this dude here. Something to do with that network. And someone said her husband helped scrub the files. So did he miss something and angered someone and they're implicated? So maybe that's why the mother was taken. I don't know. And then more speculation, persistent online theories about Epstein connections, potential family involvement, right? Now, that's because Anya's home was searched. And some of you said in the chat, you actually said that you believe that, let's see, I'm just reading this thing about Harvey Levin. Yeah, okay. But some people believe because the search was happening at her home that she was involved somehow. And then unconfirmed suicide during SWAT, that was debunked. Ransom notes, international angle could imply cross-border elements, but remain unverified. And then just the case overall is just unresolved, obviously. So I think the biggest parts of what has happened the last couple of weeks was probably the searching of the home and then obviously the SWAT situation. But again, they went in, they got those people. Supposedly the person did not commit suicide. And then you have, no one arrested. No arrests, no one in trouble. Nothing going on. Nothing happened. So that is the timeline. So over 2 weeks, we've gone through all these different areas. They've been searching in the same area. I don't even know if people are searching the border. I don't know if anyone's looking outside of the obvious areas, which is the homes here. So let's see. Kentucky girl, how's it going? I love the new setup. TriggerSmart, so masculine, sleek, and clean. Yeah, if you want to see the full set, there's a lot more than just what you're seeing right now. I did an interview earlier with one of my friends here, and we were talking about how to stay safe, when you're doing like Valentine's Day dating and just dating and stuff in general. And it shows wide angles and shows every possible angle of it. It's pretty slick. I like it. It was a lot of work. A lot of work, especially when you do it yourself. But I appreciate that. And just real quick, you guys, I'm going to say thanks to everyone. I think we are, what are we at? I'm just looking at the numbers here really quick. We are like barely short of 100,000 subscribers. Let me look here really quick. I want to get the exact numbers. Where are you at? I apologize for the robot voice. Yeah, so we're at 99.5, almost 99.6. So I'm about 400 subscribers short of breaking 100,000 subscribers and getting my YouTube plaque. So if you are not subscribed, consider it. And if you are subscribed already or think you should be, can you go double check and make sure that you are? Because as we know, the platform has been unsubscribing people against their will. And that's been happening on multiple channels, not just mine. But I appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate you guys, especially with like the Spotify stuff. Spotify is also very, very close. I want to say it is within like 70 hours or something of being monetized. Let me look here really quick. We are at, yeah, it's only 70 hours away. Out of 2,000 hours that are required, it's 70 hours until it's monetized. So thanks to everyone who went over there and listening and like playing stuff and just letting it play and getting time docked up. That's amazing. I appreciate your guys' support, and I appreciate the mods for being here and taking time out of your day to help out and keep the chat clean. Let's see. All related to Charlie Kirk Epstein, all distractions. All a PR stunt for whatever the Dodgers network TV is. I think she's what, CBS? Yeah, I think a lot of those left-leaning news stations aren't doing as well currently. But I find it interesting that Fox has kind of taken the place of all of that. It seemed like Fox used to be the voice for kind of like the conservative movement. And it seems like in recent times, they're kind of neutral, maybe, or even like a little bit left at this point. Let's see. Today Show, is that what she's on? Let me look that up here really quick. Savannah. Is that 2 N's? Probably. Today Show. Yeah, she's where is it? I don't even see any information on her. Oh yeah, okay. So NBC. Okay, so not CBS, NBC. So she's on NBC News today. And it looks like she's pretty high ranking up there. She's the chief legal correspondent. And she's been there since 2011. So she's been there for quite a while. I guess I can show you guys this stuff over here too while I'm looking at it. So Savannah Guthrie is the co-anchor of NBC News Today, NBC News chief legal correspondent and primary anchor for the network's election coverage. Let's see. She joined as host of Third Hour in 2011, was elevated to co-anchor in 2012. Did a lot of exclusive stuff, headline-making interviews from presidents to prime ministers. And she's spoken with the Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons, and a lot of the top reps. Interesting. Now, I don't know anything about her mother as far as like their past. So let's look that up here really quick. So let's ask Grok, is there anything special or unique about Nancy Guthrie, Savannah's mother, in relation to the Epstein files or corruption or the deep state? And I'll do a lot of times when I search, this is how I search. I always look for the bad stuff first and anything that might be related to something else. And then after I do that, then I'll start digging into the person overall. And I don't know if you have Grok or Claude or any of those different ones, but they're all very similar. Let's see. Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old mother of Savannah, has no publicly documented direct personal involvement with the scandal, government corruption scandals, or deep state. She's lived a relatively private life in Arizona, retired homemaker and widow. Okay, so do we need to look at the father then? Let's see, Savannah Guthrie's role, prominent journalist. Let's see. Oh, and I'm sure a lot of you already knew this. Savannah, I remember this. Okay, because Savannah interviewed Virginia Guthrie, and Virginia Guthrie is an victim. Interesting. So Savannah interviewed her when 2019, and she discussed figures like Prince Andrew. And of course, we know about the satanic rings and that kind of stuff. I find it interesting that it says run by the Democrats, because we know it's not only the Democrats that do that kind of stuff. Let's see. Critics argue that she is a media gatekeeper. Okay. Michael Feldman, son-in-law, Savannah's husband. Here we go. Michael Feldman has deep ties to Democratic power circles. He served in the Clinton White House from 1993 to 2001. Interesting. I did not know that. His senior advisor and Al Gore's traveling chief of staff. He co-founded the GPG, a PR and lobbying firm that's staffed by former Clinton aides, crisis management, reputation repair, and erasing paper trails for clients, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. Yeah, so this is what people are talking about, I guess, with him scrubbing the files and those kind of things. Let me pull this down here, this comment. Let's see. Pfizer, Saudi interests. This word, movement of humans. And the e-files released in 2026, they mentioned Feldman and GPG in a 2025 email from economist Larry Summers urging Epstein to contact them for help, noting their work for Clinton and General David Petraeus. Interesting. So let's go to DOJ. Let's do Epstein. Let's search for what's his name again? Michael Feldman. All right, let's search the files directly. Let's do this real time. If I can type here, Michael Feldman. Did I spell that right? Michael Feldman. There we go. He's okay. So now this is interesting. So he's only listed in one PDF in one email, whereas a lot of these other people are shown hundreds of times or thousands of times. Yeah, people. Tango says on the naughty list. All right, so let's see what this has. Let's see. This is interesting. So this is to JE from himself at gmail.com on behalf of someone else. Interesting. Very strange email. Forwarding from Michael Feldman. Alternative to Big Bang Lambda's TDM cosmology. Dear Mr. E, my name is Michael Feldman. I'm a theoretical physicist proposing an alternative to Lambda's TDM that does not require the existence. Okay, so this would be my question. Are these the same person? Is this Michael Feldman the same one? Because this says he's a theoretical physicist. Okay, so if we go back here, Michael Feldman is deep democratic circles, power lobbying, politics. So what we need to ask is Michael Feldman, I cannot type right now. Oh, this tiny little keyboard over here. Is Michael Feldman a theoretical physicist? And this kind of stuff you want to do too when you're searching these files and doing everything. You want to cross-check everything that you do because you never know. Could be a different person. All right. Now, this is interesting. Okay. So this is saying, this email says, my name is Michael Feldman, and I'm a theoretical physicist talking about dark energy, dark matter, dark fellows, reformulating inertial motion, right? So this is like a scientist, right? And it says, given your own personal history of being open-minded and new, I have controversial scientific ideas. Okay, and this is supposed to be Michael Feldman. Now we go to Michael Feldman here. They say, no, Michael Feldman, Savannah Guthrie's husband, is not a theoretical physicist, not even close. He's a longtime Democratic political operative and communications consultant. So in other words, he's a social engineer. Senior advisor, the Clinton, yeah, we know that stuff. Al Gore, Clinton's, GPG, currently co-chairman of North America. There is a, okay, this is important. This is why you have to cross-check things. We're doing this real time. This is good. There's a different Michael Feldman who emailed Jeffrey Epstein with a fringe cosmology theory, ditching dark matter and all that stuff. That person is an independent amateur theorist, not the same Michael Feldman married to Savannah Guthrie. So now, could someone have put this information here? Maybe. But based on what we just saw, this is why you have to cross-check stuff, because it seems like based on this information, a lot of you are saying in the chat that her husband is part of the files. According to what we just looked up, he's not. It's not the same person. It's not the same Michael Feldman. So now let's do that really quick in chat. If you guys think that this is the same Michael Feldman, based on what we just saw, we see that the actual email itself is from a physicist, a theoretical physicist who was talking about science and dark matter. And then we have her husband, who is basically a social engineer for the Democratic Party. If you think they're the same person, put a 1. If you think they're different people and that Savannah's husband is not in the e-files, put a 2. Looks like we have pretty good amount of 2s and some 8s and 9s. All right. Someone's a jokester. Yeah, I mean, so we basically just found out real time that this Michael Feldman, that is Savannah's husband, is not the same one that's in the e-files. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let me check on JLR. See where they're at with this stuff here. Is he still live? Let me see. He's been streaming for 10 hours. He is a beast. All right, let's see. And Mr. Turpin puts pie. Now, this is the neighbors. And obviously, you can see the sheriff truck stuff there, or the SUV. But this is, I'm not sure why they're free to do all this, to be honest. Like, how can they sit there and, here, let me close this chat. There we go. So if I'm a police officer, I'm sheriff or something, I'm not going to be letting people just hang out and take pictures and all that stuff right there. You know what I mean? Like that seems pretty sketchy. Let's see. Could it be a connection? Yeah, I think I agree with this sentiment here. Savannah doing the e-file victims interviews with with Mrs. Guthrie are more likely to be a connection. Let's see. DOJ search engine is no good. So I do have access to. I haven't been able to dig into it much, but I do have access to Ian Carroll's tool, his web tool. So maybe I can look deeper into that. But based on, I mean, so what the DOJ, in some ways, the DOJ search is better because it's actually getting into the emails themselves. It's actually like scrubbing the text from them. But he's only showing in one email, and it's just this theoretical physicist person. And he's not even talking about jerky or pizza or the code word. You know, it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. Now, playing devil's advocate, because I like to do that. I think I just hit my mic too. Sorry about that. But playing devil's advocate, could it be that Michael Feldman saying that he was a physicist and dark matter and all that stuff, could that be more code words? Could that be more of their secret speak? I mean, I doubt it, but it's possible, I guess, theoretically. And this is all the different, yes, all the different people on site. Let's see. But from all the distractions, they use old Nancy. I mean, if you want to manipulate someone, especially someone who is in a position that is very visible, very public, what's a good way to do it? Their family. I think there's even been cases where they took someone's dog and like tortured the dog and did a ransom on the dog, and that made the person do what they wanted. But I think that would be why. Let's see here. Just trying to keep up with the comments here. Yeah, it worked. Limit breaker. So basically, we went over the timeline of the Nancy Guthrie case all the way up from when it very first started, when she was last seen, all the way up through today. And now, right now, we're basically waiting on the DNA to be processed and see if there's some kind of connection there on the glove. And then supposedly, Team Z received some kind of tip that maybe there's some international connection, maybe Mexico. And it's kind of where it's at. And this video that we're looking at here, this is JLR Investigates. And he's doing, they're just looking for clues. I think they're flying drones overhead. They're interviewing neighbors, having interesting conversations. But, and they also went to, yeah, I would agree with this. I don't think it's about the money either. I think that it's about the e-files and a power struggle or manipulation of some sort. And like some said, it could be distraction. Interesting you say that. You said you didn't catch the beginning, or you'll catch the beginning later because you didn't get a notice. I've had so many of you tell me that, and I guess Baron has had similar issues with his streams and stuff too, that people aren't getting notified when the stream goes live. And then he has people that are saying they're unsubscribed. So definitely go check out your subscriptions on your people that you typically watch and make sure that you are still subscribed. And as far as I guess if you unsubscribe and then resubscribe and choose all, that seems to work for some people. But yeah, just double check and make sure. And let's see. Someone say something about Red Hot Chili Peppers. Let's see. People. I haven't heard about Red Hot Chili Peppers since I was a kid. Let's see. You said Dad's Gone Live has the drone up. Let's see. Let's go check that out. That's the old one. What is the... Does he have a second channel? See if it could mill. Hey, there's me. Is there more than one Dad's Gone Live's channel? It doesn't seem like it. And I don't see that they're live right now. So maybe there's some drone footage earlier. I saw streaming it 3 hours ago. Let me see if there's any drone footage in here. Yeah, I mean, they might have gotten some footage, but I don't see. They didn't cast it live during the stream. And there's a chance that it might be in a separate video. But very interesting. Let's go back to JLR. Now, people that go on the ground, just like Billy and Brandy going to the courthouse for Charlie Kirk, that stuff is so important. Like it can't be
Smart founders know something
overstated.
most people miss.
It can't be overstated how important that stuff is. All right, let me switch to my premium account so we're not dealing with these ads popping up. Yeah. Andy Popcorn Planet is on JLR now. All right, let me just swap over the user so we don't have ads. We'll go back over there. But like I said, this ground, feet on the ground is super important. So people like JLR, I know some of you guys are saying that he's a convict or whatever it may be, but it's important that these people they're doing hard work and they're risking themselves to be out there. All right, let's get audio out, see if they're...
But seeing the media out here, all this, like, I mean, for 2 weeks straight, I mean, you think, okay, say for instance, Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito, and until Laundrie was found, media was camped out there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
weeks
it was
in front
long.
of his home, and it was lots, not as much here, vehicles, but a lot. They were renting out all the surrounding homes. These cases, the media will not go away until there's some resolution here.
Correct.
Now, with this has every element possible here in this, just the way it is, because you're talking about an NBC co-host.
You know what's telling? There's
You're
no
talking
NBC.
about a mystery.
Is
You're
NBC
talking
here?
about NBC is here. Yeah, they cover it usually right there. They're here.
I didn't see it. I was gonna say that's weird. That
I
they're
don't
not
know
here.
what particular. It's a female journalist correspondent that has been doing reports out here regularly. But NBC has been out here, and I personally think, just like when they had the first description of the suspect, NBC was the first to report that it was about to be released. I think anything in this case, the major breaks will be broke by NBC. Reason being, Savannah's going to let them know.
Right.
And she has that right. She works for a network, but NBC is going to get every single thing that's breaking out of this, like major breaks, first.
For sure. I mean, they're also going to be careful and they're close to it.
Correct.
Can I interview again for my final recap here?
Sure,
All right,
sure.
so I don't, Kim, Michelle, I don't know if I'm going to trim this one, but I figured let me give it hello, everybody. We're going to try to do a summary, and I'm going to interview JLR here and see if we can get a last 10-minute little piece that if I do trim, retrim, we can make that decision next year. But here we go. I don't have a marker pen, but let's start this. In case I trim this. Hello, everybody. I'm here in Tucson, live in Arizona. We've been streaming for the past 90 minutes outside of the homes. We went and visited Sister Annie's home, and now we're here in Nancy's home to try to get some information. You can see the press lines here. We did a very deep rundown. We actually they interviewed me on CNN. They wanted to talk to streamers. We've been filming a lot of this, and there's the News Nation tent, and you can see a lot of press outside the house. I've never really seen a clear like press.
Now, did you hear what he said about CNN interviewing streamers? There is a lot of people that are reaching out to the Charlie Kirk investigators. Now, I say investigators lightly, right? Like, obviously not professional investigators. A couple of them are, but most people like Barry and myself and some others, we're not, we're not media investigators in the traditional term. We just found a case that was interesting and we're just digging into it. But he just said that CNN was going around and interviewing people, which is interesting because a lot of us got contacted by the same type of organizations. I think it's the same parent company about the Charlie Kirk case. And digging further into it, the people that are doing the reaching out, trying to get some of us to comment on it, are specifically their main purpose or only purpose is to label people as misinformation or to try to defame them or discount anything they're doing. So they're reaching out basically with their pit bulls, trying to quiet people or make people look bad in a way that would take away credibility and stuff like that. So I want to tell these guys, obviously I can't talk to them here, but I want to tell them, like, be careful what you say and who you talk to.
Stepping up, I just want to sort of turn it around so you can see, like, that's not cheap, guys, to have that kind of setup. Because not only do they have the whole news channel, they're clearly renting some of that land from the neighbor behind. That's where Brian's chilling in the back. If you get ready to go, I think, to live. Come back 1 second.
Sun is starting to go down, folks. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Very grateful. Thank you. Thank you. That's Popcorn Planet.
There he is. I got to shake his hand. I know a lot of you want to do that. There he is. He's about to go live, crushing it. And this man's crushing it too. But yeah, so I gotta say, I'm impressed. News Nation stepping it up. They're here a lot. Who other networks have you seen sort of covering this the most?
I actually seen every single mainstream media network, from the major ones to the locals, even down to Spanish stations. They're here. They're here. Yeah. There's literally, regularly 50 to 75 cars. See the tents. Yeah. They're out here. They're fully invested. Don't forget about a lot of the paparazzi type journalists like the Daily Mail, New York Post, photographer journalists, drone journalists that are up there on the hill, shooting drones out constantly. So it's
by the way, there's my kid shooting drone stuff. We're gonna get some drone shots to you as well. But yeah, and everyone's been pretty calm. That's the other thing that impressed me. They're not
it's
crazy,
been super. It's super. There hasn't been any incidents. There was one woman that actually, when we were shocked, that went onto the property yesterday. She started talking about a vehicle, whatever, but then she started firing back at the media, saying, don't film me or I'm going to sue you, whatever, like that. But I haven't seen any fights. I haven't seen any commotions. I haven't really seen any really crazy things out here.
Right.
Let's hope that doesn't. And people are there paying respect. They're putting flowers out there, and they're coming and just, I see hugs.
Will you walk with me? Let's look at that.
Sure. I see hugs. I see prayer circles.
Let's see. Mint Girl Freeman. Matt, do you know if John Bray is close to testing his mic theory? Yes, he is close to testing it, and he's also supposed to be, we're supposed to be setting up a stream, I believe, for sometime next week. So he is, he's in the stages where he has the equipment. He's done a ton of stuff with the software. So he's, so during my stream that I did with him, I said all the super chats were going to him. So I finally got all the super chat money, and I sent him the money, and then he bought some. I think he got like a what's it called, an Apple Mini, I think they're called. He got an Apple Mini and put Claude on it, and he's running algorithms and software against the videos and the images, and he's finding out a bunch of interesting stuff from that. And he also has a dummy that he's going to be testing out to see. So I think, as everything is planned right now, I think that John will be on possibly this week. When I say next week, I mean, like, in a couple days. So hopefully sometime this week he will be on, and we'll cover all the updates. And if we're lucky, maybe he'll have a test that he's recorded, or one that I doubt we'll be able to do it during the live stream. I don't think he has the setup for that, but I think it'll be awesome. So we'll see where that goes. And let's see, Roosevelt Median. Thanks for the super. Jelly says openly he did. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Jelly says openly he did time for making fake IDs. He regrets his crimes and now walks a straight and narrow. I believe him. You guys, this is common. This is a very common thing, especially among social media influencers and creators and personalities. Like there's like JD Delay, used to be a felon, or he's not doing the lifestyle anymore, and he's trying to help people now, right? That's a common theme. So if someone has a past, then that shouldn't define them unless they're still doing that same behavior from that past. All right, let me get audio back on for you. Is John going to test it on Jordan? That's hilarious. If anyone knows, those two go back and forth all the time.
To his outfit, try to figure out where exactly he got the pants, the jacket. Could have got the jacket, the gloves, the shoes, the mask, because some of those things that we still don't know could be a clue. Law enforcement sure is working around the clock to figure out who this guy is and where he bought the stuff at, or it's not knowing who he is, but the stuff that he was seen wearing, if they could track him down via the clothing and the attire that he was wearing.
Just for reference, that's a tiny drone. I believe that's a DJI Mini, like 3 or 4, and that thing is so small. They're like, I think they can only go up to maybe like a 5 or 10 mile per hour wind. Obviously, they can work. They can fly a pretty good distance, but I don't have mine close to me. But I have a DJI Air 3, and it can fly like 12 miles away, and it can fight like up to 25 and 30 mile per hour winds. It can hit about 35-ish, 40 miles per hour. But I'm surprised they have such a small drone out there. It'd be really easy for that to get blown away.
There he is again, Brian is on, about to go live, I guess, on News Nation. Getting ready for the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock news hour. 6 p.m. I can't look at my clock because I'm streaming with you guys. But here it is again. So, Jonathan, sorry. So your final theories. We were talking with the neighbor. You still
That's a great question. And actually, I'll look that up while we listen to this.
That's most likely. That makes sense to me too. That's, I guess, where I'm leaning as well.
Because the statistics is less than 1%. They say total stream. Right. High. Favorable family member. You have a lot of people that have had access to this house. Landscapers, maids, home healthcare individuals, caretakers, electric work in January on the home. So people could, somebody familiar with the layout of the house.
You were interviewing that Carlos guy. I know they not made him a suspect. As I was watching it, I know you were live streaming. There was always something that kept me off from because the first time I interviewed him, he was like, let's say about 5 cultures. Then I called him. One of the interviews we talked about And it's funny, too, it's like, oh, they had no reason. He kind of changed the story. Yeah.
All right. So interesting. So, Jared Williams, you asked about this policy. Let me see if I can move this over to the other screen. Okay. So, you asked if she had a life insurance policy, the mother. It says, according to investigators, they're examining a $10 million life insurance policy taken out in Nancy Guthrie's name, specifically just 24 hours before her disappearance. This policy, which lists a single beneficiary, is now a key point of interest in the investigation. So it would seem that there was a policy and it was created the day before or within 24 hours of her disappearance. That's not suspicious.
Right, and the ones last night we heard, yeah, they kind of went, oh, well, that was crazy. What happened with the dead body? Oh, so that was that streamer or whatever didn't see a dead body. Oh, that was weird. That was weird. Very strange. Full firepower, law enforcement, going to be active. Then the news report came out. One of the local stations got information. Three individuals, one down there in the court. Yeah. But they're not even saying if that's connected to the other two. We're assuming they were, but it's not a good look. The firepower. I mean, imagine you in your house with your family, literally SWAT from your little booth. Come out with your man. You gotta have pretty good reason for that. You got a pretty good reason. Probable cause. You gotta know it's a warrant. That's wild. And you're coming out, underwear, your attire, your muscle bed, whatever. You put in a vehicle and it's scary because I don't know what now that makes me blame Nanos with the market. Rumor is going to another basketball company, right? It is. We'll see. I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I was the family. Family. Yeah, dude. Thank you, everybody. Go support this man at JLR Investigates. I think we're in Florida. We'll have to connect sometime when it's all said and done. I owe you a meal. And no, when I say appreciate you out here, it's just you have a big platform. You know, your platform can make a difference in public awareness. So big platform should be particularly this is a major case. Yeah. No, and it's scary because it sets the whole kidnapping aspect of it. We'll just create copycats. Yeah, somebody. Amen. Yeah, that's why you do this. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. There he is. Let's go check his drone shot before we go. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, thank you, sir. Let's see the drone shot. You got a shot I can show him real quick as I'm wrapping this up? Here we go.
All right.
Oh, wow. Look at the freshman on the drone work. Zoom around to the sunset, get some shots. We got a lot of angles of the house, etc.
Sun is about to go down.
So we'll be, that's a beautiful shot too. Yeah, such good sunsets here.
Sunsets are amazing.
We'll edit this together and make sure we showcase this to you on future episodes here in Nerd Report, so you guys can see the work as we're doing it. But there it is up there. Getting some nice work, buddy. He's crushing it. Well, I can't even see it. But there it is. All right. Well, I think we covered it. Shout out to the JLR audience. There they are, cameoing again. Go subscribe to him on there. All you guys, thank you for watching, supporting him. We will be covering this more as well, so please stay tuned. Thank you everybody for joining. I'm sorry I'm going to get to it. I'm not really in my studio, but we'll go back and thank you all during our next live next week. But I wasn't live Thursday because I was traveling here to see my folks, and I want to make sure I go back and not leave them in the van too much longer. Even though they're watching, hey fam, you can come back if you're not here. We can head back. But there it is. Thank you guys so much for watching live from Tucson, Arizona. This is Andy from Popcorn Planet. Check out. Please, if you know anything about this case to find Nancy, please reach out to the police, call the FBI line, just Google it to find it. Let's bring her home. Let's bring Nancy home.
Yeah, I think what's going on right now. Let me turn this volume down here. Let's see. So it sounds like I'll keep this going just in case. Yeah, for people that are asking what we're looking at. So this is JLR Investigates. The guy that we're looking at, I believe, is Dad's Gone Live or something similar, him and his son. But what they're doing is they're on the ground, and you can see that news van behind him, that Channel 3. It looks like it's NBC or CBS or something, the eyeball, whatever one that is. But they're on site at the house, and they're when any vehicles come in, sheriff go in and out, SWAT, all that kind of stuff, they're right there on the ground, and they're just reporting directly from that location. And JLR Investigates, you see, we're actually watching. For anyone that's late, we went through the timeline of everything that's happened up to this point, and we've been watching the most recent news stories on the DNA and the latest letter, or I guess ransom letter, whatever you want to call it, that was sent to TMZ saying that it may go international. So I think at this CBS, okay. So CBS is the eyeball. You can tell I don't watch the news very often. I don't really trust the news, so I do my own research. Let's see. Yeah, so the people asking about the 10 million, that is apparently the life insurance policy on the mother. It's a $10 million life insurance policy that was taken out within 24 hours of her disappearance. And I'm trying to dig in a little bit deeper and see. I don't think they're going to tell us who. It says there's a single beneficiary, but it doesn't say anywhere that I can find who actually took it out. So let me dig a little bit more. And we did find out. I apologize. I have a cold. If you can't tell by my voice and stuff, but we did find out that Savannah's husband, Michael, is supposedly not the same Michael that is listed in the e-files. Apparently, one is a physicist and one is a social engineer for the Democrats. So according to what we saw on this stream, so if you go back and watch it, we researched it real time. According to that, her husband is not the same person listed in the e-files. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Joe Rogan is. There's some people that are listed in there because they had multimedia companies that did marketing. I mean, so just because they're in there doesn't mean that they did some kind of terrible thing to children or something similar, or partook in the jerky, right? Let's see. I'm really digging into this insurance thing.
Keep up the good work. Get some sleep, my man. Please.
Thank you. Thank you.
You'll be grateful for it. Did you get yours? Have the drone?
All right, folks. So I'm going to give a shout out to Terry. Terry just came with a sandwich called EG's. She brought me a sub. So this is going to be my dinner tonight. I have a sub, and she brought me like a little like strawberry type of like slushy. So I appreciate that, Terry. I'm going to eat the slushy right here just for a second, or I don't know. It's like some sort of slushy. We're gonna taste it. It's like strawberry slushy. So Terry just said she's been watching all night. She said she didn't get no sleep last night. So Terry's just like me with no sleep. So it's one of those. It's from a place called EG's. So shout out Terry. Everyone's saying thank you, Terry. Terry just bought me dinner tonight.
I would I'd be very careful what I ate. The people brought me out in those areas.
But she got a sub, so pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, someone said his viewers are always feeding him.
Because
Yeah, I would be skeptical as hell if I was in Arizona with all the stuff that I know going on in that area and having people come out and bringing me food and drinks. I wouldn't touch it.
Yo, shout out to Ickadmail viewers who are stealing his feed. We should come here.
All roads seem to lead
I'm just kidding. I love you, Mel.
to Arizona.
He texted me like, "Hey, what's up? We love you, Mel. Viewers.
Oh wait,
we love
wait, you gotta spin the camera.
Oh,
around.
he's texting me. We love you, Mel. I'm just giving you a hard time. You're doing great work too. Everyone, shout out to JLR though. Go subscribe because we.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like these guys are pretty much wrapping up, but they've been going for like 2 weeks straight, and he's been on site, I believe, for like a week. So, I just want to clear this up before before we close the stream up. It looks like that insurance policy. I've seen mixed reviews. So one side is saying there was a $4 million life insurance policy taken out the within 24 hours of her being kidnapped, and that they have a single beneficiary for it, and it's being investigated. Another thing says that it was a $10 million policy, but it was like social media claims and it's not an official thing, and that the police are just looking into it. So, I mean, the insurance policy thing doesn't seem to be 100% confirmed yet. But yeah, it looks like the other streams are winding down. JLR looks like he's going to enjoy his EG's sandwich and his shake, or I guess his Frosty, whatever you want to call it. And it also looks like there's not any new information that has come out. If there is anything, I will probably go live again. But it is Valentine's Day. Make sure you guys stay safe and spend some time with your loved ones. It's very, very important. Obviously, don't just do it today. Do it every day. Yeah. Thank you, TK. She says, yes, help Trigger get 100,000 subs. He deserves it. I don't know if I deserve it, but I am so close to 100,000 subscribers. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And if you should be subscribed, but possibly got unsubscribed by the platform, can you please go double check and make sure and resubscribe? That happened the other day, and I had over 600 people that reached out to me and told me that they had been unsubscribed and didn't know it. Very, very tricky. But yeah, like I said, if more updates come out, we'll cover that. Anyone who's here late, we cover the timeline, and we cover a couple news stories today talking about DNA on the glove, which that information is supposed to come out today. And then the other piece was that this could theoretically go international, most likely Mexico, due to the proximity to the border. So if that's the case, then obviously we'll be dubbing this in Spanish. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I make lots of jokes. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go spend some time with my beautiful wife, and hopefully you guys can meet her soon. I'm trying to get her to come sit in a couple podcasts with me and see if she'll hang out. She's awesome. She's hilarious. She's charming, super intelligent. So I'm going to see if I can get her to come out with me on a couple of these. And yeah, hit that like on the way out. Make sure you guys subscribe. And thanks again to the mods. Thanks again to everyone who's a member, everyone who comes and watches these and hangs out. And we will see you on the next one. Have a good night. Happy Valentine's.